Here's another turntable purchase. I just made it in my local little Goodwill, and it was $17.50 for this one. It's a fairly nice turntable. It's a Kenwood, fully automatic, KD2100. It's got adjustable speeds right here on the front. A light that turns on. Of course it doesn't spin because there's no belt in it, but I'll rectify that. Tone arm looks pretty decent. It's got an Audio-Technica cartridge that seems to be in okay shape on it. So it's definitely got some automatic problems, I think. Let me see if I can get a belt put on this thing and see how it works with a belt on, but it seems to be acting a little funny. The motor's a little loud, as you can probably hear. That needs some lubrication. This platter mat, it seems to be having kind of the same problem as a lot of the Techniques platter mats do, where they start outgassing oil. So it's still fairly pliable. So I may just try cleaning it up and see how it works. But it's a little, maybe a little odd shaped too. We'll see. But I guess the first thing to do is put a belt on it. See how it works. Alright, got a belt put on it, and yeah, it definitely has some problems here. As you can probably see, it seems to be stuck in a return cycling thing. So the automatic mechanism isn't working. It just cycles on and off. Now if I go to the end to get it to return the tone arm, kind of starts to do it, but doesn't quite make it. Goes back into its repeating. It will turn off here when it's all the way back at the rest. There it goes. Another issue that I have is that as you try, I put it on 33 here, as you try to adjust the speeds, it just stops moving altogether as you tweak with these. So definitely an issue with those speed controls, both on 45 and 33. See, it just kind of stops there at certain spots. There it is. So speed control is dirty. The auto mechanism needs some work. Not sure exactly what's wrong with it yet, but it's definitely got an issue. This play button is actually not even pushing down. Cut seems to be pressing down. The repeat is working, and that button's working. Speed control, but not the play. So now I guess it's time to take the bottom off it and see what's all hunked up on this thing. Definitely needs some work. Alright, I got it flipped over, and got to take the bottom off. Just a whole bunch of screws, and it comes right off. So underneath here's the pots that are sticky. We'll need to use some contact cleaner to clean those out. DC motor. I prefer AC motors, but yeah, it's got DC motor. I guess this is the power supply over here. And the auto return mechanism. Now the one thing, I guess maybe this is speed control over here. There's a 33 and 45 adjust pots right there. One thing I do see is on the button for play, which was not working, this whole lever is pretty sticky. So it's not. See, there's a spring that's supposed to spring it back, and it's not. So I'm going to take this off, clean that axle out, and probably this one too, and see if that fixes a lot of the auto return mechanism issues. I'll start with that. Alright, I popped that little keeper off and little thing there, and here's the first one, and this was extremely sticky. This axle here is just all gummed up with old grease, and there's still another one on there that has its own little keeper that I'll have to pull off and pull that out. And so what I'll do is just take some alcohol and clean this out and see if that makes it work a little bit better. That second one off there. Now that was really tight, and I needed to use a little bit of heat on this one to loosen that grease. And that's something you might have to do, but be careful. You know, this is plastic, you're heating up, so use as little as you can to kind of get this thing to start moving again. So it did move. I'll go ahead and clean that one out and put it back together, see if it works better. Alright, made a little bit of progress. You can turn the turntable on, and the little adjustments are now working. Change the speed on both 33 and 45, and it turns off when you put the tone arm to rest, but it's still not, the automatic mechanism is still not working. It's got some issues. So these are fixed. Turntable's turning well, but auto mechanism is still all messed up. So you take it back apart and keep working on that. Okay, it looks like the turntable's working properly with its automatic features. I think the issue is a little friction device down here in the tone arm, the automatic mechanism. It's a little device called Stewart pimple on dual turntables. I'm not sure what they call it on Kenwood turntables, but I think that is just bad. You notice I can hit go and it goes. Now if I don't move the tone arm, it'll just turn itself off. But now if we pretend like Stewart pimple is working, we advance the tone arm, then it will lower it down, play the record. Everything's working just fine. You reach the end of the record, picks it up, and I'm just manually pushing it back. And it turns off. So I think that's how it's supposed to work. I think just the Stewart pimple is bad. I'll pull that apart and see if I can replace that, and that might get this working again. Okay, there's a little Stewart pimple right down there, that little thing. And you can see is, advance this, that's supposed to go down and grab it and move it. And that's not happening. Doesn't have enough friction. So I'll pop that off and see what I can do. Okay, there's the little Stewart pimple removed. It looks pretty worn out. Now I have seen people do various things like using heat shrink tubing or wire insulation. I think that's what the turntable guy uses. Since I have some heat shrink here that's about the right size, I think I'm going to try that. Okay, I got a little piece of heat shrink tubing. Shrunk over top that whole collar. A little nub sticking up above so that it contacts the scraper here. So hopefully that'll work. Let me put the bottom back on and flip it over and see if the automatic feature works now. Alright, got it flipped back over, and I put the counterweight and head shell back on. So let's hit play and see what happens. Alright, saw it move. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Moved over. Let's see if it returns now after the end of the play. Alright, sensed it. And tone arm returns. And it shuts off. So success. Looks like we got the automatic features working again. Speed control working. So now it just needs a cleanup and a little bit of servicing. And a final test to see if that cartridge is any good. Alright, this thing is working just fine now. So I thought before I put the bottom on I'd do a quick recap of what I wound up having to do. First of all, these were all locked up, just old grease, and they would not move. So I took them apart, cleaned them with alcohol, added a little lubricant, and so all the buttons in the front and top are working properly. To turn it on, a cut button and repeat button. Everything else was in pretty decent shape. Now I did have to do some adjustments here. The drop-in spot on the record where the needle drops on the record was like right about here instead of right there at the lead-in groove. So I had to do some adjustments, and I'll apologize right now for not showing it because it was pretty fiddly and trial and error. But the manual's not very clear on how to do it. But it basically involves loosening these two screws right here and adjusting this. I think this is the pull up, at the end of the record where the needle pulls up. Is kind of this adjustment, and then these are the drop in. Also involves getting this little pin right about there when it's at rest. So it's real fiddly and just trial and error, and I did probably 10-15 trials before I got it right. So sorry, I can't really tell you how to do that, so on your own. Now I did also pull the DC motor out and put a little drop of oil in the top bearing just to keep that running good. The spindle itself, I haven't figured out a good way to pull it. I think you need to pull a bunch of this stuff off to get to it. It doesn't seem to be able to get at it from the top. So since mine's running fine, I'm not going to pull that apart and lubricate it like I normally would. So I'm just going to let that rest. And then I did have to, of course, use deoxit on these two pots here that adjust the speed, 33 and 45. So it's working great. So let me screw the bottom back on it, and we'll flip it over and have it play a record. Okay, on top side I did have to borrow a belt off of another turntable because this one didn't come with one. And the original platter mat that I had pointed out was starting to get the platter mat rot syndrome that you see in a lot of Techniques turntables. It was swelled up on one side, so it was making the record, when you played it, bounce around like that. So I tossed it, and here I've got a cork platter mat I also borrowed off that same turntable, so I've been using that. And so that's all the parts that were required, is belt and platter mat. Cartridge seems to be good. Let's play a record. Alright, and here's what I like about these fully automatics. Once you get a certain age, it's hard to, steady hand gets a little hard to get the needle down just right without scratching, so you just hit play and away it goes. So yeah, if you're having trouble shaky hands and you want to still listen to your vinyl record collection, this might be the way to go if you're working with a semi-automatic or manual. Let me turn this down. So yeah, it works really well. As you've got the cut button, you got the repeat if you want to play the same side over and over, and speed adjust. There's a 45. There's 33. And there's the individual adjustments. I've cleaned up the whole top. The only thing that needs cleaning is scratches on the dust cover. I do have my Novus products here, so I may give that a little shot at trying to clean up some of the scratches a little bit. But the turntable itself is working perfectly and ready to go. So a little bit of dust cover clean up, and hopefully this will be like brand new. Okay, I tried the Novus heavy scratch remover on the turntable dust cover, and it's just not getting these real deep scratches out. So what I think I'll have to do is use the automotive headlight cleaner, which is a device that you put on a drill, and it has various grits, and it gets these deeper scratches out. Now, some of these are so deep I can feel it with my thumbnail. I don't think I'll be able to get those out, but hopefully it'll clean it up a little bit more than it is right now. So this will be the end of restoration of this turntable, which is the Kenwood fully automatic KD 2100. I will post a thumbnail picture later on if I'm able to clean up this dust cover a little bit more, but that's it for this one. So thanks very much for watching. See you next video.